putting on paper scalps first because Hilda wished it. And we scalped Eliza as she passed through the hall. Hers was a white scalp with lacy stuff on it and long streamers. And when it was beginning to get dark, we thought of flying machines. Of course, Sidney wouldn't play at that either, and Hilda and Hugh were contented with paper wings. There were some rolls of rather decent yellow and pink crinkled paper that Mother had bought to make lampshades of. They made wings of this, and then they played at fairies up and down the stairs, while Sidney sat at the bottom of the stairs and went on reading Treasure Island. But Rupert was determined to have a flying machine with real flipper-flappery wings like at Hendon. So he got 2 brass fire-guards out of the spare room and Mother's bedroom and covered them with newspapers fastened on with string. Then he got a tea tray and fastened it on to himself with rug straps, and then he slipped his arms in between the string and the fire-guards and went to the top of the stairs and shouting, "Look out below there! Beware flying machines!" he sat down suddenly on the tray and tobogganed gloriously down the stairs, flapping his fire-guard wings. It was a great success, and felt more like flying than anything he ever played at. But Hilda had not had time to look out thoroughly, because he did not wait any time between his warning and his descent, so that she was still fluttering in the character of Queen of the Butterfly Fairies about half-way down the stairs, when the flying machine, composed of the 2 guards, the tea-tray and Rupert, started from the top of them, and she could only get out of the way by standing back close against the wall. Unluckily the place where she was also the place where the gas was burning in a little recess. You remember we had broken the globe when we were playing Indians. Now, of course, you know what happened, because you have read Harriet and the Matches and all the rest of the stories that have been written to persuade children not to play with fire. No one was playing with fire that day, it is true, or doing anything really naughty at all. But however naughty we had been, the thing that happened couldn't have been much worse. For the flying machine, as it came rushing round the curve of the staircase, banged against the legs of Hilda. She screamed and stumbled back. Her pink paper wings went into the gas that hadn't a globe. They flamed up, her hair frizzled, and her lace collar caught fire. Rupert could not do anything, because he was held fast in his flying machine, and he and it were rolling painfully on the mat at the bottom of the stairs. Hilda screamed. I have since heard that a great yellow light fell on the pages of Treasure Island. Next moment Treasure Island went spinning across the room. Sidney caught up the fur rug that was part of the wigwam, and as Hilda, screaming horribly and with wings not of paper but of flames, rushed down the staircase and stumbled over the flying machine, Sidney threw the rug over her and rolled her over and over on the floor. "Lie down," he cried, "lie down, it's the only way." But somehow people never will lie down when their clothes are on fire, any more than they will lie still in the water if they think they are drowning and some one is trying to save them. It came to something very like a fight. Hilda fought and struggled. Rupert got out of his fire-guards and added himself and his tea-tray to the scrimmage. Hugh slid down to the knob of the banisters and sat there yelling. The servants came rushing in, but by that time the fire was out, and Sidney gasped out, "It's all right. You aren't burned, Hilda, are you?" Hilda was much too frightened to know whether she was burnt or not, but Eliza looked her over, and it turned out that only her neck was a little scorched, and a good deal of her hair frizzled off short. Every one stood rather breathless and pale, and every one's face was much dirtier than customary, except Hugh's, which he had, as usual, dirtied thoroughly quite early in the afternoon. Rupert felt perfectly awful, ashamed and proud and rather sick. 'You're a regular hero, Sidney,' he said, and it was not easy to say. 'And yesterday I said you were a related Muff. And I'm jolly sorry I did. Shake hands, won't you?' Sidney hesitated. 'Too proud?' Rupert's feelings were hurt, and I should not wonder if he spoke rather fiercely. It's a little burnt, I think,' said Sidney. 'Don't be angry.' And he held out the left hand. Rupert grasped it. 'I do beg your pardon,' he said. 'You are a hero.' Sidney's hand was bad for ever so long, but we were tremendous chums after that. It was when they'd done the hand up with scraped potato and salad oil, a great big fat wet plaster of it, that I said to him, 'I don't care if you don't like games. Let's be pals.' And he said, 'I do like games, but I couldn't care about anything with mother so ill. I know you'll think I'm a muff, but I'm not really, only I do love her so.' And with that he began to cry, and I thumped him on the back and told him exactly what a beast I knew I was, to comfort him. When Aunt Ellie was well again we kept Christmas on the 6th of January, which used to be Christmas Day in middle aged times. Father came home before New Year, and he had a silver medal made, with a flame on one side and on the other Sidney's name, and 'For Bravery.' If I had not been tied up in fireguards and tea trays, perhaps I should have thought of the rug and got the medal. But I do not grudge it to Sidney. He deserved it. And he is not a muff. I see now that a person might very well be frightened at finding Indians in the hall of a strange house, especially if the person had just come from the kind of India where the Indians are quite a different sort, and much milder, with no feathers and wigwams and war dances, but only dusky features and university degrees. End of Story 9. Recording by Ruth Golding.